So I've been told I'm in. I'm in for today. So thank you, Judy, for organizing the weekly seminar. So for those of you who have not been here yet, every Friday, 3 o'clock, we have a seminar speaker. We actually have on every seat a little flyer that shows you the lineup. The lineup is fantastic this year. There's really, really high-end speakers coming, really, really fabulous speakers coming, really speakers who are hopefully opening our minds a little bit to everything that is possible in our field. And so thank you for organizing that. And not just this quarter, but next quarter, and the quarter after are all already set in terms of the speakers that are coming. So this has been a tradition to give the state of the department at the beginning of the year. Every time I get really excited and then I dread it and then I go, no, actually this is a really cool department. We have lots of stuff to share. So let's talk about the state of the department and how I feel. This is first how I felt. This is downstairs. It's quite a shock as you go about your day, you walk into the building, and there is your face. Thank you, David, for snapping the picture.
The credit for the picture.
Yeah, I am giving you the credit right now. So I edited this in here like 2 minutes ago. But yeah, the state of the department. So let's really talk about the state of the department, okay, and what's happening. So first I want to talk a little bit about campus and school news, sort of providing a context for where we are. Talk a little bit about the department, news, what's going on. Everybody knows I always like to sort of celebrate things that have happened in the past year, and the line of things is actually quite excellent. And then a little bit about the year ahead, and then we all go downstairs, have drinks and cookies and everything else. So, all right, because that's part of the tradition as well. So the first thing is there is a new provost on campus. So last year I reported there was a new chancellor. This year I'm reporting there's a new provost. That's probably not going to influence most of you who are in the audience who are students all that much, but it does influence us as faculty and what happens with the department quite a bit. So it talks, a provost gets to decide about where the FTE might go, what plans are there for faculty hiring, where the focus might be for the faculty hiring. While we get to put in our bids, it's ultimately sort of the provost who decides a lot of that. The provost also decides sort of where the strategic focus of the campus should be and what the strategic plan of the campus should be. And so having a new provost in place is a really good thing, because a campus without a provost is not rudderless, but at the same time is not actually moving the way it should be moving. And we're very fortunate to have Enrique join us from UC Davis, but he used to actually be a faculty member in engineering here at UC Irvine. So he knows the campus, gained a tremendous amount of experience at UC Davis, now is back with a lot of enthusiasm. I've met him a couple of times. He's actually a really nice guy, that helps too, and seems to be wanting to help the schools do what they need to do, which is something that's quite important as well. So we're happy he's here. And he's been here 10 weeks, he's met all the deans, he's making his plans, we'll see what comes out. All right, other things from the campus level. Campus always cares about rankings. Somehow we care in some ways less, but these are actually quite interesting, right? So we're now tied for 9th as among the best public universities. We've steadily grown our reputation year after year after year. So now we're tied for 9th in US World and News Report. This one came recently out from the New York Times, where they looked at which universities do the most for low-income students. UC Irvine ranked first. Okay. That's actually a really cool ranking. Okay, this one, yeah, but that is a really cool ranking. I think that is an awesome ranking for us to be there. And so for the third one, right? So the number one coolest school, not coolest party school. That's the next line. But the coolest school in terms of doing things for the environment, doing things that are energy neutral, all those kinds of things. So there's lots of programs happening at UCI that are in that vein, and the campus really is known for that. And I think this is actually helping us attract interested faculty members, interested students, interested staff, interested people who want to work here simply because of what we stand for. We're also the #1 best school for gamers. Okay, not necessarily for the game major, but this is for just if you want to play games. So there's apparently a community of 500 to 1,000 of our students, that is about 5 to 10%, that is actively play games all the time, and that's why we got ranked as. So, I was at CU Boulder before when we got ranked the #1 party school. That the administration didn't like that very much, so they tried to squash that. I think this one is low key enough that we can keep this and sort of be where we are. What are areas of focus? Again, so going back to the provost, going back to the chancellor, what's the focus for the campus in the upcoming years? So one thing is they really want to grow the research enterprise. There have been comparisons of UCI with other universities, peer institutions, and in sort of how much money we expend on research, i.e. how much money we get in, and then how much money we actually spend on it, we're lower than our peers. We get a lot of cool stuff done, but there's this belief that we would be getting more cool stuff done, we'd be better in the rankings if we can grow that. So there's going to be a real plan afoot to move from $300 million of annual expenditures on research to $500 million of annual expenditures on research. And so that is postdocs, that is more graduate students, that is more staff, that is all sorts of different things. And a component of that will be faculty will be sort of expected to raise more funds. But this is where that next bullet is important, that the campus is understanding that that's going to require some support for the staff in terms of the administration that is there. So the campus is developing a strategic plan. As part of that strategic plan, they're looking to make investment in IRB folks. So who submitted an IRB as of late, and it's taken a little while. So, yeah, hands go up. So, or people in contracts and grants, or people in finance management. So all those kinds of things. There is an understanding that to do this, there needs to be an investment on the part of the campus as well. And I view that as very positive. The other part is entrepreneurship. The campus has seen sort of what some other universities have done, has realized the importance of the campus to Orange County. So there's a focus on entrepreneurship, on enabling you to become entrepreneurs yourself. And I have the next slide, I'll show you something. And then there's diversity. As always, the campus cares about diversity, having a diverse group of faculty, diverse group of staff, diverse group of students. And there's more and more programs in place to try to promote that in terms of hiring, in terms of bringing in grad students and everything else. Okay, so those really, I would say, are the three main priorities at this moment in time, with probably this one at the top of the list, I would say. All right, so what about this entrepreneurship? Well, the campus has made a really big investment, a major investment, in something called the UCI Institute for Innovation. The UCI Institute for Innovation, some of you are familiar with it, some of you might have been there. It's essentially planned to be kind of an incubator. So if you have an idea, you want to commercialize it, this is the group of people that you're going to talk to. But it's also the space where you can talk to them. And it's also the space where people from outside of the university are housed. So there are early venture capitalists, there are later venture capitalists, there are some lawyers, there are some people who can provide some technical expertise. There's a whole community that's being put together inside this building, and it's a big building, that is meant to promote the entrepreneurial spirit, and is meant to take ideas from research and try to put them into development and eventually into practice. So I know one of my students is housed there. Of course, I IM'd me last night and said, we're getting sort of startup fatigue. And I'm like, no, keep going, this is good. But also I know that Josh Tannenbaum ran a project course last year where we worked together with an Oscar-winning filmmaker, developed a game, prototype game, as part of the undergraduate class. And there's an interest to make this into a real game and a real game studio. So there's conversations now between the Oscar winner filmmaker, Josh, and the Institute to try to actually take some of the students who were there, put them together in a team, have them paid by venture capital, and actually start building that game. And that's exactly the kind of role that this institute wants to play. So for all of you entrepreneurs out there who are doing little research prototypes like I used to do when I was a grad student, think about it. There are opportunities that exist to take that further. So what about the school? Okay, so the school is in an interesting state, and you'll see sort of all of the little pieces of that state unfold on the next couple of slides. One is the budget has improved considerably, right? So for the past 5 years, our budget has actually gone up. And that didn't always used to be the case because everybody stopped studying computer science, information science, informatics. Nobody showed up for a little while, but lots of students are back, and you'll see that. The budget has improved as a result, but most of that money has gone to supporting TAs and readers for our classes. Now that's great for all you PhD and master students in the audience, because that means your bills can get paid. But at the same time, we would like to do more as a school, and so that's sort of where part of the rub is. We'd like to be able to make some investments. So that's holding us back a little bit. The Corporate Partners Program is now at 18 different companies, or 18 companies that are participating. They pay an annual fee to be part of the Corporate Partners Program. They get some access to research. They especially get access to the undergrads, because that's mostly what they want. But it creates an atmosphere of activity around us, right? And one of the things that these corporate partners typically look out for is projects from our project courses. So at the undergraduate level, we have quite a few project courses, and I think Hadar is in the audience somewhere, yes, right there. For this year, almost all of the projects are outside projects, because the companies are simply there. So this is a good thing in my book, and it's anything from small startups to much bigger companies like Google and Facebook that are partners with the school. All schools on campus are being asked to prepare a strategic plan at this moment in time. So that means that we actually have to think about what our future is like. We have to set some priorities. This is something the school hasn't done in a long time. It's an interesting timing, because you'll see on the next slide there will be a dean search this next year. So it'll be under the watch of the existing dean that will be developing a strategic plan. But it's something that is going to have to happen. It's something that consequently the department has to do as well. Identifying its own priorities, what we want to do. So you might be asked to participate in that, as our department likes to involve the students in various things. So expect some questions from me that hopefully you get some answers from you. We'll see what happens. There's a 50th anniversary event. So the campus is 50 years old, somewhere next month. There is a 50th anniversary event from the school that most of you are not privy to, sad to say. On the other hand, it's also where the inaugural ICS Hall of Fame gets recognized. So these are distinguished alumni from the school. It's about 15 of them that will get recognized, and there will be publicity coming out around that actually quite soon, because the event is not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. And again, this is a good thing. This is all about bringing alumni back, bringing companies back, and having them talk to the school on a continuous basis, which is exactly what you want as you move forward as a school. As I said, the school will be doing a dean search this year. Our existing dean, Hal Stern, has served for 6 years now. He is stepping down. It's going to be an external search, which means that there's going to be candidates from all over the country, maybe even all over the world, we don't know, that will apply, that will be vetted, and sometime early next year, maybe early spring next year, we should know who our next dean will be to lead us into the next phase of development of the school. Random other things, there's a new data science major. Everybody knows data science is big. So at the undergraduate level, there now is a data science major. It's jointly governed by computer science and statistics, our sister departments in the school. Currently it has 4 new majors coming in, but that's okay because it hasn't been advertised yet. But it's there, and again, it's garnering attention to the school that we are with it, that we know what's happening in the world and we're trying to respond to that. There's a proposed Masters of Computer Science that's under consideration. This is not that important to us as a program, but to the school as a whole, this is one of the important initiatives moving forward as we're trying to figure out how to generate our own revenue streams rather than always relying on the campus. And there's a slide next that I'll show you that where we have some plans in that regard as well. And then also a small bit of recognition to statistics, and actually our outgoing dean, Hal Stern, there was a $20 million grant made to establish a forensic science center of excellence. And it's all about statistics and the role that statistics can play in evidence in crime cases. And it turns out that that has not necessarily been a subject of study yet, but anytime that anybody has studied forensics and has studied the statistical properties, turns out that the rules that the FBI and others are applying are perhaps not as statistically significant. So there are some problems there, and this center is $20 million. UCI has $4 million under Hal's leadership to do this. And again, I find this a very fascinating kind of subject, and I think it's great that we're partnering, or we're playing in that space. Undergraduate admissions, this is one of the things that influences the school, influences us as a department. So you can see last year we admitted 486 freshmen. It's a little bit down this year to 399. That's very conscious. We haven't necessarily grown very much as a faculty, at all almost, and simply handling 500 new incoming students each year is too much for the faculty members that are there in the school. So it's purposely being set a little bit lower, a little bit more cautious, and the same here for the transfer students. Still, that is 600 new students coming in, right? So into the school and its program. So there's lots of TA and reader jobs out there for those of you who are interested. Onward for the campus. Bright past, brilliant future. Okay, you've seen it everywhere. It's a little bit of a buzzword, but I think it makes actually a lot of sense, and the campus is actually celebrating what it's done, but also recognizing that we need to move forward and keep doing interesting and exciting new things. And so focusing forward is a really good thing. Enrollments and resources for the school, it remains tight. So this is something that we do want to pay attention to. What are the campus expectations for the schools as the enrollments are there? As the campus says research expenditures should go up, what's the way in which we're going to do that, and how is the campus going to help us with that? We can't completely do it alone. There's some ways in which we can do it, but other ways in which we actually need some help. And there will be a new dean forthcoming sometime in the following year. So that's sort of where the campus and the school sit. And then we sit sort of below that as a department, Department of Informatics. And we have some news as well. Okay, so the first news is last year we welcomed Josh and Karen Tenenbaum to the department as new faculty. This year we're welcoming 3 new people to the department, so there's some turnover here. So we have some new folks. Sam is, I don't think he's here, but he's a new faculty member in software engineering. His specialty is software architecture and security. So anybody who's interested in those kinds of subjects, Sam really is one of the folks to talk to. Kai, you are here. You just walked in. So maybe you can stand up and at least wave to everybody so they know your face. So Kai is here. Comes to us from Michigan. Great Steel. We're very happy that you're joining us. Health informatics and all sorts of things that have to do with data, statistics, and things that I don't know how to do. But he's an expert at. And then one of the things also, at Michigan, he ran a master's program in health informatics. And actually, I believe, helped set that up from the ground up. And this is something that we believe is important here at UCI as well. There's a strong connection to the School of Medicine. And Kai is going to be sort of the main person in between there. So you're going to be the subject of a lot of tugging and all sorts of things. But he smiles and he says, I'm ready. So he does that every time. And then also welcome Darren. Darren also could not make it. Darren is a new lecturer joining us. He moved in, I think, 2 to 3 weeks ago. He's been prepping his courses, is helping with the growth at the undergraduate level, right? So we just can't staff all the courses with the faculty we have. So he's joining us and is going to be a great help moving forward. Branding. So for those of you who are new, this line means little to you. For those of you who have been here a while, this is about the 4th time I'm updating you on the department website, but it's really live this time, all right? So it has happened, it is live, it is real. People are looking at it because it's all having statistics, so we actually know that people are looking at it. So happy that this is done, but of course there's always new information that we would like to put on there. Social media, I know lots of you subscribe to it. If you don't subscribe to it, it is actually how we push out information. Melissa is in the back. Maybe you can wave. So Melissa, as her social media czar, self-proclaimed, right?
Proclaimed by you.
Proclaimed by me, that is
I am
correct.
here, if anybody, if there's anything, the voice of informatics is really me, for better or worse. But I would like it to be more than just me. So if anybody has anything you'd like to post, any exciting announcements, and it can be small things or large things, cool things that you would like to publicize to the world is coming from informatics. Don't be shy.
That's right. That's right. And I'll repeat that at the end of the slide as well. But yes, subscribe to it. It's actually where you get most of the information of the exciting things that are happening in the department. There's a new grant, a new paper, something, some event. We tend to push it out there first. And then there's also the Informatics Inquirer, which Bonnie Nardi and Melissa spearheaded, which is sort of a quarterly little newsletter with sort of a list of accomplishments, of things that have happened in the department that you might want to look at. And I believe everybody gets that, right?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I see some puzzled looks of that must have landed in my inbox, but I might not have seen it. So we'll double check that. Okay? But the other thing, as Melissa said, please keep contributing. Okay? So there is lots of interesting things happening. And while you might not think that your research is not that exciting, or you might not think that the event that you're organizing is not that exciting, because it's just part of what you do, there's lots of interest on the outside. And so one of the things that we've seen is if we push out something about a new grant, or if we push out something about a paper, what happens is sometimes people from the outside pick it up. And sometimes that is a colleague, sometimes that is the newspaper, sometimes it's a funding agency. It's different kinds of entities that pick up on this, that want to then talk to us. And sometimes really good things happen from that. So don't be shy. Do a little bit of self-advertising. It's actually a really good thing, not just for you, but for the department as a whole as well. All right. So vice chairs for graduate affairs. So last year I had a slide that had Bill, an arrow to Jillian. This year it's more complicated, so let me decode it. Jillian is on sabbatical in fall, so Bill is stepping in for 1 quarter in fall. After that, all your questions should go back to Jillian, because she'll serve as vice chair of the department. And so this is anything that has to do with course substitutions, trying to meet the requirements. I had a big fight with my fellow grad student, what should I do next? So all sorts of different things that might take place. That's why we have vice chairs. Now, the big fight with the fellow grad student doesn't seem to happen in our department, but just to spread the breath of, whatever matters related to graduate student and graduate student life, come talk to Jillian, and we'll see how we can help you, okay? School undergraduate admission. So now let me give you the distribution of all those 399 students and 198 transfer students and where they landed. So in red are the majors that our department is responsible for. Partly jointly, so business information management we do with the School of Business, computer game science we do with computer science, software engineering also with computer science. But you can see that the real big major, of course, is computer science. That's where most students land. In terms of incoming freshmen, informatics has actually quite few. In parentheses are the numbers from last year. You see all the numbers are down a little bit. Software engineering is up a little bit. But if you look at the total number of majors, it's a very different picture. Okay, so if you look at the total number of majors, there's about 170 informatics majors, now 100 software engineering majors, 230 computer game science majors, and about 165 business information management majors. So all in all, at the undergraduate level, we touch base with about 600 students at this moment in time that are coming through our various classes. Again, CS is the big major with about 1,200 students at this moment in time. But we're thinking 600 is just fine. It keeps our hands full already. I think everybody's felt, if you have TA'd or RA before, the classes are pretty full at this moment in time. Not that we're not happy that the students are here, okay? Just to make sure. We're actually really happy that all these students are here, because these are the topics that we, of course, care about. And we believe we give them a really good education and prepare them well for their futures. Okay? At the graduate level, it's all relatively stable. The informatics PhD has about 45 students, give or take. The software engineering PhD is about 10 or 11 students. And then the master's program is about 20 to 25 each. So there's about 20 to 25 master's students in each of the programs. And that we actually like as a size. That means that the master's courses aren't too overly loaded. And again, you can see that CS, in turn, still has many more students than us coming through their various programs. Okay? So this is a good state. This is sort of a state we can certainly handle. In terms of graduated students, this is PhDs only. Last year was a great year. We graduated 12 PhD students. There were some people who needed to go. That happens always. But in general, actually, we're being pretty good. We now have annual reviews of every single PhD student, and it's helping everybody stay on track. Okay, so we suspect it will be a little bit more leveling out than sort of the 13, 10, 4, 8, 3, 12. Right? So we're hoping that that levels out a little bit more. In terms of the curriculum, so one of the things I talked about was having our own resources as a department. We are doing that in 2 ways, or 2 different programs, kind of the same way. There's a proposed Master of HCI in Design. And what this master program does is it's called a self-supporting program, which means that all the tuition that all the students pay doesn't go to the campus, but comes to the department. also means that the department has all of the expenses of hiring the instructors, the TAs, and everything else. But what that means is that any surplus that such a program generates also stays with the department. The campus takes a little tax, but the rest stays with the department. Now, we've done the math on this many different times. And it looks like even with 35 to 50 students, that program is actually going to generate a surplus for us as a department. And the same for a proposed Master of Software Engineering that we're developing right now also should be leading to a surplus for us as a department. Now, why is that important? Partly because these two programs involve new courses. Those new courses require additional TAs to teach the new students. So there's additional budget simply from paying TA salaries to our existing PhD and master students. And it's also important because the surplus we can invest back into the department. So that can be PhD student fellowships, that can be a weekly lunch if we want to, or it can be hiring new faculty members, it can be a lot of different things. Now, we're not there yet. Okay? This is a plan we set in motion about a year and a half ago. But all these things take slowly but surely, they're coming where they need to be. And my prediction is once these two are up and running, our department will change significantly in terms of what it's able to do on a year-by-year basis as a result. So this cryptic line here has left the campus, but progress is disappointingly slow. Really what that means is the program has been proposed, it's been approved on campus, it also needs to be approved by the UC Office of the President. And that tends to take 6, 7, 8 months, sometimes even longer. So we're working with them, we're trying to speed this up a little bit, but let's see what we can do. The hope is to start this in fall. So we have started course development for some of these courses. And the hope for this one is to start the following fall in 2017. Other course curriculum items. One is we always had a PhD in informatics and then a master's program in information and computer sciences, informatics track, general, or informatics concentration general track, which was on balance. So we've been working to put this master's program under or next to the PhD program. That is simply awaiting campus approval. We already have the courses the same. Now we just want them in the same place in the catalog so everybody can actually find them. There's a health informatics track in the undergraduate program in informatics. And there's a data analytics and consulting prep tracks that we're working on together with the School of Business, because we're noticing that a lot of students don't just want to do the technical stuff, they also want to bridge to business and what that means. All right, so what are pressures and opportunities for us as a department? Well, one is budget and enrollments. So that's kind of the standard at the moment. You know, if somehow we get 10 new professors, that wouldn't be up there. But where we are right now, sort of our annual budget, there's things I want to do that I simply cannot do. Right? So sometimes I want to send a whole bunch of you to Grace Hopper. Can't do that. I don't have the money for that. Or, you know, I want to have multiple pizza nights a year, not one associated with the Chi deadline. So, you know, once a month would be actually really good to get all the grad students together, right? And talk and just hang out and have the faculty there. And those are things that we just don't have the money for right now, but that hopefully soon we do. And I believe soon we do. So those are some pressures. We're dealing with them, and we're dealing with them well as best as we can. But, you know, again, I look for things to change. Opportunities that are ahead, well, the self-supporting programs are clearly that way that we want to change things at this level. They'll be hiring next year one position, and I'll reveal later what area that will be. And fundraising remains an opportunity, and one that I'm actually this year, now that all the branding, the website, everything else is done, that's where my focus is going to be. So accomplishments. This is the fun part of the talk for me. Okay, so what have we all done in the past year? So here's one slide. So Melissa and Jim got tenure. So we clap for Melissa and Jim. That's a big deal because we can't fire them anymore. I mean, really, that's kind of the story. But it's a recognition of what they have done. And how great their work is, and that we want them in the department, that we want them at the university. But so they got tenure. Jillian was promoted to full professor. She's not here, but we'll give her a little clap. Gary and Judy were promoted to professor above scale, which roughly translate, they've done fabulous things over their careers, and the university thinks so too. And it's not a recognition that many professors on this campus actually achieve. So it's testimony to what they've done over their career while they were at Michigan and now while they've been here. So a little clap for that. Alfred became professor step 6, because you can be above skills, step 6, step 3, all sorts of different things. But that is also a major recognition on campus. I don't think he's here, but we'll clap for him too. And then Matt's here. Yes, he is. Matt now has the title of researcher, which on any other university would be called research professor, which is an appropriate title, but this campus somehow doesn't have. But you are now researcher, and we're very happy about that, because you used to be some weird, wacky old title that didn't mean anything. Now it is a title that is still weird and wacky, but means a little bit more than the previous one, right? So hopefully the campus gets it together and calls you a research professor soon. But also, congratulations to That's where we stop clapping, though, because there's otherwise too many slides of this nature. So David Kay, I think you are in the audience, right there. We stopped clapping. Sorry, we'll whistle this time. No. He became director of the UTeach program. So what's the UTeach program? The UTeach program is where senior undergrads get training to teach lower division undergrads seminar courses. So it's a teaching training program. And anybody who knows David knows that teaching is incredibly close to his heart. He sort of oozes teaching. And so being the director of this program, I think, is appropriate recognition, but also, the kind of stuff that he loves to do. And again, I pick all sorts of random examples in the accomplishment just to show you the kinds of things that are happening for us. Bill, Bonnie, and Dawn, let me do it in the right order. They were recognized for teaching innovation across campus. So there's a single award that the campus makes each year for innovative approaches to teaching. And so what they developed was an online course that was offered to all of the UC system. Now that didn't mean that hundreds of students at the other UC signed up, but a few did. And the course is about information technology and sustainability. And the way they ran it, and the fact that they ran it, and that they successfully pulled it off, and especially that they got student teams to think about sustainability innovations on their respective campuses and actually try to make a difference, is one of the things that made them be recognized with this award by the Division of Undergraduate Education. And it shows you again, teaching is near and dear to our heart as much as research is. We like to innovate in that space as well. Jim, I'm sorry, you're here again. I had the picture, so I had to put it up. So Jim was awarded an Impact Award at the last ACM SIGSOFT conference. What's an Impact Award? An Impact Award is where we look back as a community to 10 years or longer ago, and we look for the papers that somebody authored while they were a grad student or while they were a junior professor, whatever they were at that time, and that the community has deemed to have a great amount of impact, right? You've written a paper that lots of other people have built things upon. And so this year there was exactly one such award in our field, and that was awarded to Jim and his colleagues. So that was awesome. Another thing that was awesome, I mentioned 12 PhD students graduating. One of the things that builds recognition for us as a department and builds reputation for us as a department is where do they go subsequently, right? Not every PhD student goes to work at Google, thankfully. And actually our reputation as an academic institution actually gets built a lot on, do they go to peer academic institutions? And so 2 of our postdocs, Lily and Thomas, and then 5 of our PhD students went to academic positions this year. So they are now assistant professors. I believe they're all assistant professors at their respective institutions. And it's interesting because one of them is in the Department of Women's Studies, one of them in the Department of Computer Science, and then one of them in the Department of Information Sciences. So the breadth of informatics is reflected in the kinds of places that our students go. And that's one of the things, again, that I very much like. And of course, we wish them all well. We hope that they all get tenure like Jim just did, because that would just be a fabulous thing. Lynn, on top of that, got what's called the Community Engagement Award. So the campus each year awards one person a Community Engagement Award when your research bridges to the community and engages the community in that research and gives back to that community. And so Lynn's work was recognized for that. And that's actually kind of a major accomplishment for me. Not for me myself, but I think for the school, for the department. Typically, you see this award going to, and I don't want to downplay it, but social scientists, humanities, urban planning, those kinds of things. For that to land in our school, I think is a major accomplishment and recognizes that the kind of work we do in informatics actually does bridge to the community and does bridge to users and people who have real needs. So I think this was a good recognition for Lynn, but also for the kind of work that we do. Now on to books. Books seem to have been a hot thing for us as of late. I don't know why, but they have been. So Krista's book, Exercises in Programming Style, just not too long ago, was recognized as the most important programming book over the past 10 years. Okay? So some person found it, some person recognized it, blogged about it. Subsequently, her book was sold out on Amazon for quite a while. Good for her. But it is an important book. It's a book that's actually in classrooms at other universities. It's a book that explains different kinds of programming styles and does it in an extremely witty way. If you haven't read the book, I highly recommend it. This book was noticed as an ACM notable book. So another way in which books get recognized is the ACM, Association for Computing Machinery, goes through and selects a small handful of books as this was a really notable book. Again, made an important contribution. And so, Judy, yeah, this was your book. Congratulations. That's awesome. Then there was the sneaky book. And I'm saying this sort of facetiously. I didn't know this book existed. So until I found all of a sudden that it did exist. So Gloria is not in the audience. But this book came out last year. So again, books seem to be a theme. Gloria wrote a book. It's out. It's good stuff. This is also a book. And where's Luann? She is sitting right there somewhere, right? Not only faculty members write books, apparently grad students write books as well. So congratulations on putting that out. That's awesome. And then sort of other things. So Bill's not here today because Bill has achieved or has been elected to an important position at the Environmental Protection Agency. So I know everybody knows Bill cares about the environment in a great amount. It's shining through his research and other things. And so we nominated him for a position in the agency, which typically means if you know government agencies, there's an agency and then there's a committee, which is a subcommittee, which has a different subcommittee, has a different task force. So Bill is on one of these subcommittees that specifically looks at the role of information technology and sustainability. So it's extremely close to his heart. And it's the kind of stuff that he likes. It also means he's currently writing a report because the 2 day of meetings was to conclude with an actual report to be written. But again, shows you the engagement of the department with the world around us, which is an important trait. There was also this workshop, the Limits workshop. This is from the cover of First Monday. So Bill, Don, Bonnie, they organized the Limits workshop, which was a workshop again around environment, sustainability, technology. Was sort of heavily UCI dominated, and the special issues seem to be more heavily UCI dominated yet. But I think this is an important area and a good area for our department to be involved in. The iConference, thank you Gary for organizing it, happened last year right here in Newport Beach. I saw lots of you there. Important event. At the iConference, this team won the Microsoft Prize. And I need to spy real quick because that was for the Racial Violence Archive. So it was an app development competition, and our team from our department, with some other students as well, won the award from Microsoft for the most innovative app there. Other events that are happening, this is from the App Jam. So in case anybody is sort of paying attention, there's lots of auxiliary events that are happening around our department. So some of them are the workshops and conferences that we organize. Some of them are just events that the students organize. Some of them are the ones that we are involved in. And so Jillian Hayes is heavily involved in the Autism App Jam. If you went to her office at a certain point, it was kind of full of all sorts of goodies and prizes that Google and other kind of companies were donating to the students. And this is just a picture of that. And it's, again, the kind of event that involves people from outside of us little department and brings in lots of attention and brings in lots of interesting things that flow out of these kinds of events. This one I kind of want to show. So I don't think many of you saw this. And I think, whoops. Go back. Oh, wait, I gotta show it here. Sorry. Anybody see my mouse pointer? There you go. I don't think it's on, is it? Nope. Okay, so you can't hear it. So I'll simply speak to it. Okay. This robot, this guy name's Kevin. Deborah knows it. You're here, and part of why I wanted to show it because of your involvement in this. So this is an outreach event to Girls Inc.
Kevin's on the right, Gigi's on the left.
Thank you. Kevin is on the right, Gigi's on the left. I actually
That's
think.
Gigi.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Are you very
Kevin's
sure?
orange, Gigi's red.
Because I've watched the video a few times the last few hours, and I think it's the other way around, but that's okay. Okay, so these cool little robots were the subject of teaching high school girls how to program. And I think they were even below high school. Were they high school, Deborah?
They're
Right at the border, right?
Yeah, there
right
may
at the
have been
border.
some 8th graders.
Yeah. And these robots, I looked them up. They're expensive. I wanted one for my daughter, and I looked at them, and I looked at the budget, and I said, that's not going to happen. But they're extremely...
Like a small car.
Yeah, like a small car. But they're extremely cool, because they can listen to you, they can see things, they can move very, very well, and they come with a programmer kit. And so what this was about, so this is a video that got put together by one of the students in this group, but they, over 4 days, spent time programming the robot to do different dances to different kinds of music. So you could upload music onto the robot and then make the robot actually dance to the music in various ways. And so this was a whole group of girls that did this for quite a while. And for those of you who were lucky to be here when that actually was showcased at the end, that was a phenomenal little thing in the hallway of 5011. So the only thing I'm going to ask you, Deborah, is the next time we know that happens, let everybody know. Because just to be able to see it would be really neat. So,
Okay.
But in any case, this was, again, a kind of outreach event that I think is important for us as a department to showcase what we do. That's where I want. I know. And of course, I should tell you the moral of the story here is, it's Kevin who says, Gigi, you don't know how to dance. And then, eventually they have their little dance. Gigi wins. And it's all a metaphor, of course, for male programmers and female programmers, right? So, come on. I'm trying to stop the video and it's not. Okay, there we go. Okay. Other great things that are happening. So I know Josh is not here, but there has been a lot of motion since he came in last year. So he's been building, quite a bit of space out. So this is now sort of the Lucy play space, build space, hacker space. If you want to sew, that's also there. If you want to 3D print, that's there. So it's a space with lots of equipment to build things. And then there's also this room, which is a game lab, game room that looks specifically like a living room to simulate conditions of gameplay at home and what kind of interventions we might be able to do, what we might be able to do in various ways, in which games impact life, in which games help life, and all sorts of different things. So this just got built. For those of you who are worried, these are really big fat curtains that are all hanging down the halls or all hanging down the walls to try to keep the sound out when gameplay gets a little loud. But I think everybody in that room knows what's happening there, and it's going to be a great space. So I'm just appreciative for Josh coming in and putting these spaces together, because that's, again, interesting, new things. Go check out the spaces, see what people are doing there. I think that's important. For those of you who know this, I think Oliver, where did Oliver put this together? I don't know. Yep, there you are. If you want to help your fellow students, or as in my case, help you guys students, there is a Cafe Press informatics store. You can buy your own mug, you can buy your own sweatshirt, you can buy all sorts of different things, and whatever proceeds there are go back to the graduate students. Okay, so for all of the faculty members in the audience, buy your students lots of goodies, because whatever is made and left over goes back to the grad students. And I like this, and I've seen all sorts of different things come about from this store. Okay, so I'm not going to make it much longer, but what I want to highlight though is there's lots of different things happening. And this goes back to Melissa, who had to step out now, but it goes back to let us know that this is happening. Because I represent the department and I'm talking to lots of people on the outside world. I'm talking to colleagues on campus, I'm talking to people in other departments, I'm talking to people in other schools, and they say, what are you doing in informatics? And the more I know the kinds of projects that you're engaged in, the more I know the kinds of events that you're engaged in, essentially the more I can brag about you. And the more I can brag about you, the more it's typically a good thing for our department. And especially because next year is about fundraising, knowing what everybody's up to. You never know who you run into and what might happen. So even if you want me to come by your lab and actually see what the projects are, okay, and that's kind of an open invitation. I'll repeat that to the rest of the faculty. But I want to go across all the labs, see what everybody's up to, understand the projects, and be able to talk about them subsequently. Okay, so the year ahead. Self-supporting programs. I talked about them already. We're hoping for a start for one this upcoming fall, the other one the following fall. Hiring. So there is an open position. We will be hiring another faculty member. There still are lots of details to be worked out like that. I believe they're all going to work out. And it will be back in the area of games. So we hired somebody in games last year. We hired Kai and Sam this year. We're feeling like, particularly with Dan Frost, who is actually retiring at the end of the year, has had a big hand in the area of games. So getting somebody back in that area of research, of teaching, is an important part of the department. And then the other piece is there is a matching program that the University of California has. If anybody here has a rich uncle or aunt that has a cool $1.5 million left over, come talk to me, because I can get the other $500,000 from the campus, and then we can hire somebody else. I know that the likelihood of that is extremely low, but nonetheless, this is one of the things that I'll be looking at moving forward. And again, this is where stories matter, right? So if there's somebody out there who cares about sustainability, which lots of people do, that might well match with a program like this, if I can tell the story of sustainability that's happening. If there's somebody who's built their own startup in software, and they care a ton about software engineering and new software engineering tools and testing, I better know what's happening in testing so I can talk to them about what's going on. So this is part of my motto. If you see me, just tell me what you're up to. It's okay. Social climate. I think one of the things that we really want to promote, it's slipping a little bit. It's very easy to work at home. It's very easy to put the headphones on. It's very easy to have the door closed for all of us. But we've been talking a lot as faculty, and one of the things that we would really like to see a little bit more of is people in the office, people talking to each other, people going for coffee, seeing each other's exams and defenses, topic proposals. So some of them, there's just a student in the committee. Not even the students of the own lab are there. And I think, we need to be a little bit more supportive of each other, because again, the more everybody talks to each other, the more we know what everybody's doing, the better off we are. We're going to try to do our part to actually make some of this happen. That's why it says initiatives. But just to flag a little bit, I know that there's a lot of social activities that are actually happening. That's great. Let's see if we can be a little bit more social on the floor as well. We think that would be a good thing. Other priorities, as I said, fundraising. That's going to be really my hat this year. Nominating people for fellowships, for recognition, for ACM, various kinds of things. We're doing this at the faculty level. We're also doing this at the student level. So we really want you to apply for the NSF Graduate Research Fellowship Program if you're eligible. We really want you to apply to a Google Fellowship if you're eligible. We really want you to apply to the Facebook Fellowship if you're eligible, okay? Because there are different ways of paying the bill on the one hand, but there are also incredible recognition of the kinds of things that you do. So if you're thinking about applying for a fellowship, Bill has been sending out the spreadsheet. He also told you, please get us your materials 2 weeks before. Why is that? Because Bill and I will be reading your materials and giving you feedback. We believe that there's ways of improving what we do. We've had more success the past year than the previous year, and the previous year was better than the year before, and we really want to continue that trend. So as you're interested in these kinds of fellowships, let us know. Sometimes we'll tell you, too early for you. You need to apply a couple of years from now. Other times we'll tell you, yes, but change your application like this. And hopefully in some cases we'll tell you, that's perfect, we'll write a letter of support, all is good. So nominations, think about self-nominating yourself. One of the examples is each year towards spring, I think, there is the, which one is it? There's 2 smaller kind of fellowships, and I think Oliver, you just got one. Which one was that? The Kling Fellowship, right? And then there's another one, trying to remember the name. Yes, that was you, right? Kleist, right? So there's the Kling and the Kleist Fellowship, and then one more? Yes. Lamb, right, Roberta Lamb. So there's small fellowships, and we don't get all that many applications. You know, here's a chance to A, get a fellowship, you know, maybe buy a bicycle, you know. but it's, you know, I'm from the Netherlands, come on, bicycles can be expensive. So, but think about nominating yourself, right? Or talk to your advisor and say, should I nominate myself? This is good stuff. I will be working with somebody in the office to reach out to all of the former students in our program. At the undergraduate level first, I'm going to try to be LinkedIn friends and Facebook friends. I am that with many of them. I want to be it with all of them, and then start roping them in for interesting things. And then, of course, we're all going to be busy with the Dean search, or some of us are going to be busy with the Dean search, and sort of trying to figure out what's going to happen there, because that will be a big open search. So last but not least, Melissa said it best, you know, pay attention, subscribe to these, and also give us more material for that. We are a department that's doing some really remarkable things. The campus knows it, and the more we tell the campus that we're doing it, the better off we are in the long run. And with that, I shall stop talking, and if anybody has questions, I'm okay if you ask them now. I'm also okay if we all go downstairs, have a drink and a coffee and whatever else, and we'll talk more there. So, thank you.
There was a question?
Yeah.
Is a downward trend across the board.
Pardon me?
How do you explain that?
Which downward trend?
Why, about 10 slides back.
Admissions, probably.
Admissions.
The various numbers of students enrollment.
The ones that,
Oh, students.
Yeah. I'm
Yes.
coming in.
the ones with parentheses.
This
That
one.
was one of them.
Yes, yeah. No, it's very easy. It's very easy, and it's actually this slide that matters more. This one. So there's a huge surge in number of students who are interested in information and computer sciences. So in all of the programs of the school, computer science, business information management, informatics, software engineering. So much so that the number of applicants to those specific programs is up. Last year, we admitted 500 students, which means that our undergraduate freshman courses are 300 and 300 and 300 and 300. 4 of them, because there's other people on campus wanting to take them as well. And many of those students are streaming through now to the sophomore year, to the junior year, to the senior year. At 500 students, well, 480 plus 200, so at roughly 700 students coming in each year, the total population of students for the school would be 2,800. 2,800 is too many students to handle for about 50 to 60 faculty members. So there was a conscious choice on part of admissions on campus in consultation with our dean to actually lower the number of new students coming in somewhat so that the impact on our classes isn't too great. Because we were teaching classes of 50 or 60 students. I believe every faculty member here is now teaching classes of 100 to 200 and greater. And that's just not good for some of the materials that are there. So there's a conscious effort to preserve quality of education, really. And that means that because the overall number for the school is down, that means for the various majors they're down as well.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
We have time for 1 or 2 more questions for the general audience. Ooh, everybody wants a reception.
That's right.
All right.
I do.
Yes. Let me add my welcome to all of you for the Friday seminar series. You have this. There's also 2 more quarters coming of really fantastic people. So we hope to see you every Friday. You have a question?
You said the speakers were set. When is one of those schedules going to be put out?
With the rest of the schedule? Soon, I guess. We scrambled to get this for you today.
Yes.
Yeah, it'll come out very soon. And if you want to know personally, I can just tell you. Our tradition is we do not when we have the reception, we don't immediately go to the speaker, right? Because then they don't get downstairs and have a glass of wine. Right? We all go downstairs, right? Downstairs, down the elevator. He will follow, and we can talk to him there. Also today, there's one exception. I want all the 209S students to actually meet inside 5011, inside the room. There's food in there. We're having our own reception. That's just this time, just so we can get oriented. Okay? Let's thank André again.